on the roster with only 11 cuts remaining. Who are the most recent cuts by the Chicago Bears? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Sir Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So we have the next round of cuts by the Chicago Bears. We already talked about earlier the Chicago Bears cutting Colin Johnson, Brett Ripon, two players that a lot of Bears fans thought could make this roster considering what they brought, especially in that Hall of Fame game. Well, now we have players added to that. The Bears have cut cornerback Greg Stroman Jr. Keep in mind, this is a guy who was actually started a game for the Chicago Bears, I think a couple of games last year for the Chicago Bears, and played pretty damn good in that. But with the growth of Reddy Stewart, he's a guy I wanted to see make the final roster. This may have opened the door to Reddy Stewart being on the final roster by the Chicago Bears. That remains to be seen. We don't quite know that yet, so I'm not going to report on that yet. But Greg Stroman has been released. Also, punter Corliss Waitman has been released as well. Torrey Taylor, we all knew he was going to make that final roster. Defensive back Roe Terrence and quarterback Austin Reed all waived by the Chicago Bears in this most recent wave of cuts. So that means that the Bears are going to be operating with two quarterbacks on the roster. Considering the depth they have at some other positions, that makes sense. Austin Reed or Brett Ripon, maybe even both, may end up on that practice squad for the Chicago Bears. There were some Bears fans that thought that Austin Reed couldn't make that final roster. He's also waived with this. And so the Bears have getting to the point now where they're starting to waive players that definitely have some talent. Now, especially Greg Stroman Jr., like I said, he's been a nice depth wide receiver, has started a couple of games for the Chicago Bears, but at the end of the day, Reddy Stewart is a guy who's younger, undrafted free agent. He's a takeaway machine when it comes down to it, and that could have opened that door to that being Kadarius Toney also released. I didn't even know somebody on the with that name was on the roster. But with that said, yeah, the Bears have now 11 cuts remaining. That's not much. We're a little over an hour away from the Chicago Bears having to finalize that roster. But about 2 hours. Sorry, it's 3 p.m. Chicago time where that is. So we got a little bit there. We'll see what happens, man, and see what it comes down to. Hard Knocks with Reed will read the fuck out tonight. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Stroman is a corner. I know we said Greg Stroman was a cornerback. So is Reddy Stewart. But yeah, with that said, so the Bears just continue making their way through, man. Some some solid players cut. The Bears have maintained some flexibility on some of those players. Ian Willer, we've talked about, he was one of the first cuts, but he was placed on injured reserve, which allows the Bears to keep him. So the Bears are just doing their flexibility and their due diligence right now. Why did we cut Reed? I thought we cut Ripon, if that's who you meant, and we cut Reed. You only have to carry two quarterbacks on the roster. Now, you're going to probably keep a quarterback on the practice squad. Keep in mind, we did the same thing with Nathan Peterman last season as well. We waived him, cut him. So either Austin Reed or Brett Ripon is probably going to be that candidate for the Chicago Bears. There's a chance that both of them may be as well. So we'll see. Oh, did I say receiver? Oh, my bad. What up, Haize? Going on, Jake Capone? Sorry, he meant release from the Chiefs. He would be solid. Well, no, I doubt we're gonna drop make any additions to our wide receiver room. Just in my personal opinion, I think the Bears feel pretty confident about their wide receiver room, especially with having the depth they have in that first three. Tyler Scott, who could come into being the quarterback. The wide receiver 3 next season. So that's something to look out for. Yeah, we're gonna be something to reckon with years out of 30 motherfucking years. I'm gonna be able to talk my shit and my Bear's gonna be back. Back me up, bear the fuck down. Hey, I mean, listen, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. There's a lot of reason to be excited about this Bears team. I talked about that a little bit on the Daily Show today. A lot of reasons to be excited about this Bears team, and we'll see. Ripon is vested. He's free to go. Yeah, he's absolutely free to go where he wants. So is Nathan Peterman. Like, it's if he wants to be here. So that's just what it comes down to. That's true. I feel like a vet presence would be great for Chicago with the emergence of rookie Caleb Williams and second-year man out of Shepherd Tyson Bagent. Listen, here's the thing, right? Is that Brett Ripon could very well stay around on the practice squad, right? You need a quarterback for the practice squad anyway. You need somebody who's going to be ready to call up if somebody does go down. So it could be Brett Ripon, it could be Austin Reed. We'll see. We'll see. What up, Haize? Doing what you do. Love the content. Appreciate you, Arnold. Glad to have you in the building. Avante Collins is cut to. Yes, we talked about that on the last update video, but yes, Avante Collins has been waived as well. Him with the fact of J. Tyree Carter and Jake Curran being cut may mean that Larry Bourne actually stays around on this roster. We'll still see there. We'll still see there. What would you grade Poles offseason? Oh, a solid A, Sydney. I like again. It's a solid A when you look at it. Like the way that he played everything, from the players he went out and signed, getting Kevin Byard, getting DeAndre Swift, both players that fit your system on the offense and defensive side of the ball. That's great. Yeah, he didn't add the top line offensive line talent, but you got in a lot of multiple position guys on that versatile guys on that offensive line. You did that. The draft gets 100% A. Look at it this way. We may have gotten a draft out of a starter out of every one of our draft picks this past year. Caleb Rome, we already know that. Torrey Taylor, he's going to be the starting punter. He may be one of the best punters, if not the best punter in the game of football by the end of the season. You got Kieran Amagaje, who is going to be a bit of a project, but the Bears do see him as a long-term starter, and Austin Booker. So the draft gets an A. Then you go through training camp, and then you make 2 trades to help shore up your defensive line in Darryl Taylor and Chris Williams. Like another really good product there. Like, and then you also re-sign DJ Moore to a long-term contract that actually frees you up more money this year. Ryan Poles gets a solid A for me this offseason. Like, I don't know how anybody in fairness can give him anything less unless they have their own biases, right? Like, keep in mind, I was a guy who I wanted to see the Bears keep Justin Fields, but they moved on, right? So there are going to be some people that judge it based off that. Well, they didn't keep, they did Justin dirty, and it's like, okay, well, they moved on. They got a quarterback who they believe in, who's amazing. Then, let's not even go on just the roster. You got Eric Washington and Shane Waldron in here, and you revamped your whole offensive staff. Yeah, solid A. Solid A. You gotta love what they did here, man. Ryan Poles cooked this offseason, man. He definitely cooked this offseason. Why would you sign Tony, who is fourth option with no hands, and develop Scott? Just develop Scott. He is also a speed threat who is working to get better. That's the thing I think the Bears are at, right? It'd be different if maybe the Bears didn't have Keenan Allen. Maybe they would look to do something there, but it is what it is. Did the backup punter get cut? Yes, Corliss Waitman did get cut as well. He got cut. Caleb Farley from Titans would be good, large cornerback and fast. He could definitely push Josh for a spot. Maybe was a first round. A cornerback room is deep. Like, I'm sorry, but the one thing I'm not worried about is a cornerback room at all. Like, I think we have the deepest secondary probably overall in football. And I've said it multiple times. The cornerback position for the Chicago Bears is the hardest position in football right now to crack the rotation in. I fully believe that. So I don't think so. What's good, Eric, aka Butter B? Glad to have you in the building, brother. We'll be live over on Bleacher Report at the deadline passing as well. Don't think Poles isn't looking around for other help from cuts. Oh, listen, Poles is absolutely going to do his due diligence. Like, make no mistake about it. Especially, I think, on that offensive line, even if they don't waive Larry Bourne as part of that of needing to get down to 53. If an offensive lineman that he thinks is kind of more versatile and can help, Poles will absolutely cut Bourne, save $3 million, and go out and sign a guy, right? The defensive edge position, I think the Bears feel pretty confident about that. So I don't know if they go out and do anything with that edge position, but weirder things have happened. We'll see. We'll see. How the hell did I forget about that? Re-signing the best cornerback per him, one of the best cornerbacks in the game of football, in Jalen Johnson, when it looked a little bleak there. Apps like everything. We get off to a hot regular season. Poles will make a splash edge rush trade like he did last year. Would Sweat probably trade a second and draft? I doubt that. I don't think so. Because keep in mind, the difference when he traded for Sweat is that we had no prospects at the defensive end position. It was literally Yannick Ngakoue, Dominique Robinson, and Hope. That was, and of course, DeMarcus Walker, right? That I don't think he's going to trade a second now because he has a guy in Austin Booker that has tremendous upside. So I don't think he's going to go and do that. Even if the defensive line is a little shaky at that position. I think they've added enough depth, especially with Darrell Taylor and his production and getting to the quarterback. I don't think if they trade a second, it's not going to be, it won't be for a defensive end, in my opinion. I'm not saying that they won't make a trade, but I don't think that the Bears right now are looking at the defensive end position as something you need to trade a second to go out and get. With the way that Austin Booker has played, if Daniel Hardy ends up making this roster, you got some young guys that are up and coming on the wings there. And then you got a guy like Darrell Taylor, who's a real, as a depth piece, as a rotational defensive end, you can't do a whole lot better than that. So, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. FFG Style says, Drip, why do you think the Bears didn't trade Stroman for draft capital instead of cutting him for nothing? At this point, up to this point, this part of the deadline, I mean, every team's trying to cut. So there's not a lot of teams that are looking to give up draft capital for players. Not to say that and then again, like Greg Stroman's good, make no mistake about it. And teams are probably already thinking about, hey, we about to call him before the end of the day. But, at some point, you just got to ride with what you got, man. No, it's an A++. Pose went from getting a Matt bullshit Nagy system to switching us to real contenders. If Bears fans don't see playoff multiple times, it's crazy. Bears going to be a top 5 team. I mean, listen, on paper, but nothing's won on paper. We've had talented teams before, and maybe it's my own trauma as a Bears fan. I got to see it in reality, in actual NFL games before I start talking like that. But I hope so. Let me be clear. We got the framework to absolutely be that. I'm not saying, hey, don't have your faith, young fella. No, have that. I want Bears fans to feel that way. I'm just personally going to wait a little bit until we see it. That's all. Salute, my G. Keep doing your thing. Can't wait for the season to start. East side up, bear down. Glad to have you in the building, brother. Is Poles done making trades for this season? I'm not sure if recent changes he made are good. Still learning football. Yeah, the moves he made are really good moves. I don't understand how Valus, Bourne, and Dominic Robinson are still on the team. Well, Valus is it's simple. They drafted Valus. They spent a 3rd round pick on him. They're going to give him time. Like, that's one thing that Ryan Poles is going to do. He gives players from outside 1 to 2 years to see what they're going to bring. He's going to give his own draft pick time. Bourne isn't bad we got to stop talking about Bourne like he's bad. As a rotational offensive lineman, he's actually one of the better rotational offensive linemen in the NFL. The reason why that Bourne will be cut isn't come down to Bourne being bad. It comes down to it's only $30,000 in dead cap, and you get $3 million in salary cap space if you cut Larry Bourne. That's the only thing that really is the biggest. Let me not say the only thing. It's the biggest reason. Now, has he gotten passed up on that depth chart by a few offensive linemen? Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, as a rotational piece, not terrible. I already read that one. Dion says it's 97 degrees, feels like 110. I called off. Plus Haize looked like he done lost some weight, get some sleep aids. Oh, I done lost a lot of weight. So I started a new diet at the beginning of the month. I stopped weighing myself last week and I was down 10 pounds. I'm not going to weigh myself again for another month. But hey, listen, I told you, I'm trying to unbig my back. We were trying to lose weight here. I was tired of being fat. I had to get back to, I'm trying to get back to being right around 215. Most people don't know this, right? So I carry my weight well. But a month ago, I was almost 250. So that just put that in perspective. Like, go back and look. Like, I'm only 5'10". I shouldn't be 250 pounds. So yeah, we're working our way down. I'm on like an extreme diet. I'm doing like 4 to 5 miles a day. So we're doing things. We're making things happen out here. I got to get healthy. It put it in perspective. I have a son that's grown now. My son's in college. He's 18. I want to stick around and see my grandkids. So I had to drop some weight. That's it. So. Pizza Puff drought trauma, Bears trauma. That's hilarious. Yeah, Pizza Puff trauma right now is a little bit more serious about that. I'll stop talking about Bourne being bad when he stops being bad. I mean, listen, that's your opinion. I mean, if you look at it, if the pro football focus grades, the pressure gave up, there's a lot of data that supports Larry Bourne not being, again, if he was a starter, that's different. Nobody's looking at Larry Bourne to possibly be a starter for the Bears. He's a backup lineman, and he's a pretty darn good backup offensive lineman. You carry weight well, Haize. Thank you, Evie. I definitely carry weight well. Like, most people never guess my weight. Like, I was a big boy. So yeah, it is what it is, man. Yes, Haize, take care of yourself. Got to, man. I got to, bro. I got to, man. Listen, I got to be around for a long time. Chicago Bears Central isn't going anywhere. Like, you can see my shirts are fitting a lot looser now. Like we out here work. My head looks biggest. That's the one thing I hate about losing weight. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Is I have a big ass head, an extremely big ass head. Like I make no mistakes about it. I know it. I understand it. I've had a big head literally since I was born. If you ask my mama, right? Like, but when I lose weight, my head looks bigger to me, and maybe it's just a self conscious thing. My head is big as shit. It's big as shit. So sure, that's some number. No, but the numbers come from how he plays on the field, Crimson. Like you do realize that your blocking grade, the pressures that you give up in both the run and the pass game, that comes from how you play on the field. It comes from how you play on the field. They don't just make up those numbers from you sitting on your ass on the bench. So, when is the deadline? The deadline is in about exactly an hour. So it's 3 p.m. Chicago time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's when the deadline is. Broski Bear, shut up, Broski. No, you're right. I have a big ass head. Is Kieran healthy, or did they put him on the able to not have him miss the entire year, but he's still sick? No, Kieran Amagache got in the last game. He played, I think, 4 snaps in the last game. So no, he's fully healthy. And Ryan Poles has already talked about that they're going to get him on the field. So no, he's fully healthy. Definitely fully healthy. Uh, about that good weight, not the fat weight. Big head is brain equals big wallet. Hey, listen. I get paid very well. I get paid very well. But all right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. Let me just refresh real quick, make sure no other cuts have happened. So 11 more cuts left to go. Nobody else has cut yet. So we got 11 more players that got to get cut. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us. Again, Steve-O and the boys will be live right at the 4 p.m. deadline. I have to go live over on Bleacher Report at 4 p.m. So I won't be here until a little bit after that. Bleacher Report streams are about 20 minutes. So I'll be here about 20 minutes after that. So make sure you guys stay in tune with that one, man. We got 11 more cuts. 11 more cuts to wait, man. All right. Love you guys. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comment, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you guys want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love